And you'll have to forgive Maria. She's trying to watch a state basketball game.
I
That's why
paused it. It's paused.
Okay. See some familiar faces, some very familiar faces, and some new ones. If you at any point during this little meeting want to ask a question, feel free to chat, type that in the chat. Maria is going to be watching that, and she can relay that to me. Otherwise, we'll get started, and we will take questions, obviously, at the end if you want to have anything pressing, and if she sees a question that we can answer right now, we'll do that too. So if you see me looking over that way, that's because we're in different rooms. So trying to make this the easiest for me to see. All right. First thing I want to do is pray, and then we'll kind of start walking through some stuff. Dear Jesus, thank you for this group that are here tonight, and I ask that you help us to be able to get some information out to them, to help them make a decision on whether or not this is something that they want to be a part of. I pray that you be with our club as we start getting things started and going, that we can do things that are right for you and for kids, and just help us to have a good time here. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right. I want to start off by talking about why we are called the Warriors. In 2015, Brett, our oldest son, wanted to do track. And so we joined a track club in Carl Junction called CJ Freedom. And we, during that year, I made the mistake of saying I thought we could do this in Girard, and people held me to that, and we ended up giving it a go. So in 2016 we started, and we wanted to make a name, or have a name that represented some different things. Mainly we like the idea of the Ephesians 6:13, and that is why we need to put on God's full armor. Then on the day of evil, you'll be able to stand strong. And when you finish the fight, you will still be standing. We also wanted a name that kind of was similar to Trojans, but not the Trojans, because we wanted people from outside Girard to feel like they could be a part of it without having to come to Girard and necessarily be a Trojan. And so Warriors was just a good fit. We use the colors at Girard. Girard USD 248 allows us to use their facilities without having to pay, and they're very supportive of our club. And so that's the big reasons why we're called the Girard Warriors. We have some goals: build character and sportsmanship. We are a faith-based organization. We have a session at the start of most practices where we do a little devotion time with the kids and talk about some stuff, and a lot of that's character type things and how to handle yourself in tough times, and what? Yeah, it's like a 5-minute little thing. It's but it is something that we try to do. Obviously the healthy living focus and taking care of yourselves, or the kids taking care of themselves as well. And then of course, fostering love and understanding for the sport of track and field. Over time, I'm still growing to love the sport. I love watching the toughness that kids develop, and they show, and what they find inside themselves to become better. And it's really neat. I need to get rid of this here. Just a second. All right. Obviously we want to have fun too. We didn't want our club to be an event that took kids away from other activities that they were already involved in. We just wanted to offer the opportunity for track because there wasn't a real opportunity for kids in this area. And so we like to have fun. We try to have fun, but we also try to stay structured. We had 95 kids at a couple of practices last year, and that requires a significant amount of structure. And but we try to have as much fun as possible. High school and middle school kids may participate after their seasons are over if they're in a public school. I know we have some homeschool families involved on this call. They can participate or practice and participate at any point. The commitment flexibility, and this is what we really like ourselves about this. And yeah, Maria's going to go ahead and take this.
So as far as commitment level to the team, Brett played travel baseball. And to be honest with you, I wanted the complete opposite. Didn't want to have to be at a tournament every weekend. I didn't want to have to be relied on. Like as a parent, I didn't want other parents to have to feel that. So the commitment flexibility is just that. It's extremely flexible. If we have families that only come to practices, we have families that go to every single meet. We have kids who will practice and go to meets until baseball and softball start, and then they won't do it anymore. It really is truly up to what you want to do as a family or what your athlete wants to do, because we're not going to require that they be at practice. We're not going to require that they go to track meets. So the commitment level can even change throughout the season. You may come in gung ho, we're going to go to every meet, and then you decide that was too much. So you don't want to do that anymore. That's totally fine.
All right. Kind of an introduction to our coaches. I'm the head coach. I went to Erie High School. I competed in track at Pitt State, and then had an opportunity to be the head track coach at Colgan for 7 years at the high school level. And then took a job at Girard, where I've been the middle school coach since that time. Andy Burnett. Andy and I went to school at Erie together. He was a freshman, I was a senior. He was able to throw at Allen County Community College, javelin. He then helped me coach at Colgan for a couple of years and does a very good job. He also had a sister-in-law who was a national level javelin thrower. She competed in AAU and placed in the top 6. I'm real sure of that, like maybe in top 3. Anyway, and he coached her doing that kind of stuff. And but he's also very good with discus and shot put, and he takes care of that kind of stuff for us. Morgan Samuels is our jumpers coach, long jump mostly, and then helps with taking care of triple jump stuff. She's a Girard High School track athlete. She medaled in state in the high jump, long jump, and 4x4. She attended Ottawa to play basketball, and she did track, and she was a conference champion in long jump 1 year. If you have daughters, this is a girl that is somebody that they're going to love. Morgan is just a great person. She loves track. She is I'm going to say the wrong thing. Is she an OT? Probably. I think that's what she is. And so she travels around, but her love for track, this is a way that she is able to be involved in track. And to give you an idea of how much she enjoys it, she lives in Osawatomie, and she does everything that she can to make it down to Girard for practices and meets. And anyway, she's a super good kid. Lainey Lawson, you probably won't see Coach Lawson much until the summer if you're still around with things in summer. She's one of the coaches at the high school at Southeast. She does our pole vault coaching. She was a state qualifier in long jump and triple jump, and She also coaches cross country, so she's pretty aware of a lot of events, but her focus for the club is pole vault. And we're one of the few clubs in this region that actually has pole vault, primarily because we have a coach. She loves pole vault. And I've got a call coming in from Matt Brown, Maria. I don't know what to do with that at this point.
I'll text him.
But anyway, we're pretty unique in that. And if things go well this summer, we'll be able to offer a pole vault competition again, like we did last summer. And that's pretty unique to opportunity. And that's more for middle school and high school kids. But she's not around much because of the high school season until summer or late May. We have Leah Smith is our actual javelin and turbo javelin coach. And in AAU, they have a turbo jav for kids that are younger. It's kind of a Nerf type of thing. And she takes care of coaching that for us. She was an All-American javelin thrower at Pitt State. She is from Girard originally and had moved away and came back in the last few years. And she is highly involved in the community. And she is a great person as well. All these coaches are. Coach Kimry, Corey Kimry, is going to be our distance coach this year. He's former Southeast High School track athlete also, and ran distance at Pitt State. And then when he was done there, he coached high school track for a number of years at Southeast before they had took an opportunity to do something different in Colorado, and then has moved back, and he now helps coach the Girard high school track team. He does hurdles, and he'll help us with hurdles as well. But his focus will be with the kids in the distance events. Coach Cheney is our hurdles coach. He's from Baxter Springs. I coached against him when he was a kid in high school. He was a state qualifier in multiple events. He's the head track coach at Southeast, and had one of the fastest hurdlers in the state in 2019. You won't see him much again early on because of being involved at the high school level at another school. But he really enjoys being a part of it. We're fortunate to have him. Coach Knox, Erin Knox, another Girard High School athlete. She helps with the sprints and long jumps and whatever else we need her to do. She was a state qualifier in high school also. Just had a baby within the last, year, something like that. And she works till 6, so she'll be a little late getting to practices, but another girl and coach that the girls can really look up to and get a lot from. Brian Norton. Brian is a coach of all things. Brian was not even involved or had ever participated in track in school. But when we started the club in 2016, they came to the meeting and their daughters got involved, and he got involved and has learned a lot. And he is a big time help for us. He does a lot. He's kind of a go-to guy for me in a lot of ways. We have a new coach this year, another new coach. Johnny Webb is going to help us coach too. He's a former athlete that I had in middle school at Girard as well. Him and Morgan both I had in middle school. And he was a state qualifier in multiple events. He was particularly he was a high jumper, but he also ran cross country. And even as of late, I think he's done some triathlon stuff, and he's a pretty fit dude. You'll recognize him pretty quick on that, but he's participating. I believe this summer he was telling me that's some kind of a running competition that he's going to be involved in. But he's going to help us just generally wherever I can put him. And then Maria Clevenger, my wife, she takes care of all the organization stuff. She's the person that when you show up at practice, if you need to pay or do something or get something or ask questions, she's the one that you'll go to for that kind of stuff. So basically, she's the one in charge. You want to take it from here?
Sorry, I got texted for work. Sorry,
Okay,
I can't. Yes,
okay.
absolutely not.
Sorry, I apologize. A little bit of an emergency with the school district. Okay. Club fee. It is $60 per athlete. That broken down is the $16 required AAU membership. Every athlete has to have that AAU membership. And what it does is it provides liability insurance, no matter where, like if they're a practice or if they're a meet, that is what that provides. They also have to be an AAU member to compete in some meets, not all meets, but in some meets. So that is part of that $60 fee. They will also get a team t-shirt included in that. And then the rest is for just other things like equipment, those kinds of things. All of our coaches are volunteers. We don't pay ourselves. We don't pay our coaches. They do it out of the goodness of their hearts. So that money does help like pay for their meal when they go to a track meet, but they don't have any kids competing. They're just going for everybody else's kids. So we do prorate that fee for middle school and high school because quite honestly, their season isn't as long. And by the time middle school and high school start joining, a lot of the younger kids have stopped because baseball and softball has started. So athlete information and release forms are on the homepage of the website. Pretty straightforward. It feeds into an Excel doc so that I know what I need to do. I need to have like emergency information, t-shirt size, all of that is on there. If you're going to be attending meets, and by meets, I say like the AAU meets, the official AAU meets, you can buy one if you don't compete in those, but the uniforms are $80. We kind of do it like the Y Gymnastics, where if you're not going to compete anymore, you can sell your uniform to someone else. They're sublimated, so they're not going to be out of stock. We can always get more. So if your kid does it for a year or two and then you want to sell the uniform, there's always somebody looking to buy a used uniform. Meet fees. This is anywhere from about $7 to $25 per meet. So that is in addition to then the club fee and the uniform fee. For the young, the meets that are not AAU sanctioned. So like our meet in April, our kids will wear their track shirt and they'll wear black shorts. And that's their uniform for that meet. And what we found last year was that a lot of parents of the younger kids just had them wear that at track meets, and there was no need for them to get a uniform, which helped save them money. So AAU sanctioned meets, which are the ones that involve the junior high and high school kids, if they want to do those, we would like for them to have a uniform. If not, then there's really no need to buy one.
All right, some questions that people usually ask is, when is the club's regular season? We'll start March 28th and practices once to twice a week through June. If athletes qualify to the Junior Olympics at the end of June, and they want to compete in the Junior Olympics, that's at the end of August or end of July and early August. And so we will practice them as we can in July. The commitment requirement we kind of talked about already with Maria's stuff. And then, does my child need spikes? I would not get spikes for your children, especially if they're younger, until you have been involved a little bit and find out what they want to do. That's not something that's necessary to start off with. Just having a good pair of running shoes is perfectly fine for all the events to get started. And we do have some spikes available from the club that we've purchased at different places. We find them for good deals and are able to sell them. So if it gets to the point where you want to see some of those, then we can check those out. Coach Knox is coming in. All right, sponsorships, donations. We are a 501(c) nonprofit, so we do accept donations and sponsorships. We will host a youth meet on, I believe it's April 23rd this year. That is for pre-K to sixth graders. This is going to be one of our bigger opportunities to raise funds for the clubs.
I'm going to interject. I hate fundraisers. So this is our fundraiser. I don't do fundraisers, just FYI. If you want to do one yourself, you can, but I'm not going to spearhead that.
So anyway, our club kids will get a discount on that registration fee. That's another benefit of being part of the club on that deal. But individuals don't have to be club members or AAU members for that matter. So if your kids have a cousin that wants to just compete but not be a part of the club or something, or a buddy that on that day they want to compete, they're more than welcome to do that. Practice expectations. We do at times grab parents to help manage kids, especially if we're short on coaches. So feel free to jump in there. Athletes that are kindergartners or younger, we really, you as a parent, you're going to have to be there. You may not have to be with them at their events, but being nearby. And even kids in the first, second grade, we like the parents to stay around the track during practice, just in case we need some help with them. There have been a couple times that we've needed parents to take the children out of practice for us. And so if your kids are third, fourth grade on up, then you're pretty much free to, you can leave them with us for an hour and a half. And
sometimes parents will walk the track. Sometimes they'll go get groceries. Like you can do whatever you need to do. You can stay if you want to stay, but you don't have to.
Again, practices are usually an hour and 15, an hour and a half. Early on, they can sometimes be a little longer as we get in the season and kids, the weather gets better and it's getting light or dark later and kids find out what they're wanting to work on. Some different ways to communicate that we communicate through social media. We do have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We have a website, which is where you can find most of all the information you would need can be found there. The app that we use, though, to actually communicate with the club is the Band app. It's an app that you have to download to your phone, or you can access it through a computer or a web browser. But that is how you find out when practices are, if practices are canceled. That's how I send out all the information for anything that's going on.
That's also how, like, if we know specifically that our hurdle coach isn't going to be there that night and your kid only does hurdles, we're going to announce it there so that you're not driving over and then you get here and there's no coach. We have people that can do it, but if they want to work with that specific coach, then you'll know that they're not there because we'll post it.
So that's our main form of communication. You can find out how to sign up for that at our warriorstrackclub.org. There's some instructions in there. I have not gone through that to make sure that those instructions still work specifically. So if you have any issues, let us know. And then there's email. But the Band app, I use it to communicate whole year round. It's a very good app for me. It does not automatically send text messages. There's a way that you can get set up to receive text messages. But if you turn your notification on for it, then you should be able to get the information and check it.
What he means by year round is our regular season is March to June, but then there is a youth cross country season that's in the fall. And then there's an indoor season, which is in the winter. We don't do the Warriors does cross country and indoor. We personally do not coach those. We have someone else do those. The indoor meets, there isn't even any practice for it. You just let us know. And participation fee, that $29, Nate does all the entries for you. So you're not having to hunt down websites and figure out how to register. You send us the information and then he takes the time to register everyone for all the meets. But all year round just means through cross country, indoor, and then we start back over.
Okay, so there's the website. There is an event calendar that on band that has practices scheduled as of now. And the meets will be starting to get put on there. You'll see on the Warriors Track Club site, if you go to the events message, I've got a bunch of meets from the beginning of April all the way up to the end of June scheduled on there. Not necessarily for us to go to, but families are able to go to meets on their own. It doesn't have to be a team thing where everybody goes. You're more than welcome to go to whichever meets you want to. So that's why I put all the meets on there. And I can usually take care of registering most of that kind of stuff for you if I know that that's something you want to do. We've often had families that go to a meet on their own, or maybe they've got family out around Heston, and so they go out to Heston so they can see family, and family can watch their kids compete and different things of that sort. So some different things, the meet entry form. Maria, you probably ought to take this stuff. You think? Or are you busy with? Okay, so the meet
I'm
entry
still
form.
trying to deal with state basketball stuff. I'm so sorry. Okay. We do have Venmo, which isn't listed there. We opened up a Venmo account this winter because I use it all the time, and we had parents who were wanting to pay, but they weren't coming to Pittsburgh. And so we always have the option for PayPal. You can do cash or check or Venmo. All three options are available for payment. I try to be at practices for at least the first 15 minutes. Our youngest does softball, so I do have to get her where she needs to go. But if I'm not there, I try to have someone there to take money and forms and questions and all that stuff if I'm not there. But once you register for a meet, if you want to pay cash or check, you're just going to give that to me when you come to practice.
And then there's just other information on that website. The website has a lot of stuff on it that's pretty good. At least I think it is. If you know of someone who wants their child to be a part of the club but wasn't able to make the meeting, they can turn in fees and forms and stuff at the first practice. They don't have to register through our website. There is a link on the warriortrackclub.org site to be able to register your child without having to actually fill out paperwork. You can do it online there. And there's a link to pay afterwards. So
and this parent meeting, since he recorded it, we will embed it on the webpage. So if you have someone who wants to come back and watch it, they'll be able to do that.
Okay. So at this point, do you have questions? No one typed any up, Maria? Even?
No.
We must have done awesome.
Right.
Hold on, Whit. Okay, let me turn my volume up. I couldn't hear you. Okay, go ahead. Try again.
How do you determine what the kids do, like when it's their first year?
We let them determine that. That's the thing is, it's not like middle school or high school where coaches say, okay, I think you should do this. We let the kids and parents kind of work things out. We basically at practice, we have a group that goes with distance running and a group that goes with sprint working. And So every kid's going to do that, other than a kid that's just a thrower that knows they're just going to be throwing, then they can go do throwing stuff. And from that then is how we just kind of start, we let them run and we see what happens. And parents get to decide, parents, athletes, whichever, decide the events that they're going to do. Obviously as a coach, I will talk to kids, older kids about, hey, what do you think about trying this and that type of thing. But for the most part, it's truly just up to you guys and the kids about the things that they want to do.
I don't recommend doing what our son did, which was for like 3 meets. He did 3 different events every time. Probably not the best option, but if that's what your kid wants to do, they can do that. They can try anything. And if they hate it, then they pick a different event and they try that one.
Sawyer really wants to pole vault, so 5-year-olds should not pole vault.
Not yet. But when he gets up around that 10-year-old age group, pole vault actually starts with 13, 14-year-olds, but we can start practicing that.
On the website there, I think it's on Club Info. There's actually a spreadsheet that tells you this age group can do these events. Like
they throw a smaller
shot, they throw a lighter discus. They don't have as many hurdles. Their races aren't as long. All of that information is on the website. By age, and the age that a child competes is the age they turn this year. So like my daughter sitting next to me, her birthday is December 28th. She'll be 14 December 28th. She has to compete as a 14-year-old all year long. And most it's 8 and under, and then it's 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds. It's just by the year, but 8 and under is typically, unless it's a youth meet specifically for 6th grade and under, it's 8 and under in one group, and then it goes up, and then they break into 2-year groups by the time they get to like 4. I think it's
High school.
15, 16, and
Yeah.
17, 18.
So that kind of makes me think there's really 2 different kinds of meet. There's a youth meet, at least what we call a youth meet. And then there's AAU meets. And as Maria mentioned, youth meets are usually in 2-year age groups. And most of the youth meets that are available to go to are around Wichita and then ours. And then those are pretty much through the beginning of May. Once you get into the middle of May, then you start into the AAU track meet side of things. And that's when they start going by year, by grade. Whitney, I'm going to guess your kid's a 400 runner. So how about that?
I don't know. He wants to be. He wouldn't even know that his mom ran track because he just wants to be his father. So
Yeah. All right.
So short sprint and pole vault. If he is anything like Colby, we'll see.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anything? Okay, well, if not, Stock Brands, you surely have something. You're good.
You can always, if you join the band app, there is a chat feature where you can send it. It's like a text message. You can send him a message. We're not afraid of hearing our phone numbers out. So if that's easier especially for people going to meets, he likes to create text groups so he can communicate with everyone going and give them the details without bombarding everyone else that's not going with that information. But specifically, if you have any questions, you can message us through band and we'll get back with you.
Okay. Well, then we're going to finish her up and call it a night. Does Cleet have a question? No, he just looks like he has a
Nope.
question.
No, we're good. Thanks,
Okay.
Nate.
Yeah. Good to see you both, at least more than Cleet, but. All right. Well, thank you. And hopefully we will see you all sometime.
When are we starting?
March 28th is the first practice. Go from there. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.